Okay, so it seems that one topic that has been kind of trending at the moment is viewbotting. Now, essentially, this is a topic that has been kind of, talked about a lot whenever it comes to VTubers, as, there is a lot of VTubers that bot, there's a lot of creators that bot, there's a lot of just people that bot in general whenever it comes to, mainly Twitch and, sometimes other places as well, right? And it tends to be a problem for some people, tends to not be a problem for other people. Again, it's just one of those things that kind of happens. And if you follow any of the kind of top streamers on Twitch, the likelihood that they bot is probably quite high, right? And that just is what happens. That's how they, get those amount of sponsors that they get. And it just seems to be a problem that continues to go on and on over on Twitch, right? And it seems like recently there's been like a little witch hunt in terms of bots and stuff. Apparently there was, this kind of thing that happened where a bot like site or whatever, or like some like program that was running the bots ended up going down, and a lot of VTubers ended up losing some viewership. Again, I don't know who the VTubers were, by the way, like literally no idea. I'm not even trying to like protect anybody. I just saw someone saying that essentially some VTubers did, and obviously some creators, like general creators on Twitch as well, also have lost viewership just for that one day or however long it was down for. And again, now it started this kind of witch hunt in terms of people trying to find out who is doing these botted kind of things, who is, botting their views, who has got the fake viewership and everything. And again, it tends to be quite an issue for many, right? And we'll go into this tweet in a minute, because of course this is the main thing that I've been seeing going around at the moment, which is referring to nijisanji, essentially saying they're reporting the sites that sold bot views for YouTube channels and streams have shut down, and that after the closure of these sites, the number of people watching certain VTubers live streams has dropped drastically, thus revealing that a good portion of the people watching their lives were actually bots. So they're essentially claiming that a lot of nijisanji, I'm pretty sure they're referring to here, were botting. Now, again, I don't want to say that is true, because of course nobody knows if it's 100% true. It could just be a kind of dip in viewership in general, right? But obviously there is this page that's been kind of trending in terms of a list of all of the talent, and essentially the February average, comparing them all, and you can see that all of them have dropped in some percentage, some of them as much as 84%. Which obviously is, pretty shocking. That's quite a big drop, right? And many people are resulting that into bots. But again, I don't want to like spread that. I don't want to say that, they're 100% botting, because of course there can be many reasons to explain a drop in viewership, but it is definitely a post that has been trending and something that a lot of people have been kind of, looking at in regards to VTubers and, bots, right? People saying a report from a Brazilian anime page reported that nijisanji EN lost 55% of its viewers when the sites selling bots were shut down. They showed a comparative table between February and March, which in some cases did show a big hit in difference of viewers. People saying, by the way, in the past, Niji EN bought concurrent viewer bots to send them to the Hololive talents. Apparently, again, this is all from random people on Twitter. Like, we got to remember this, but of course, people saying regarding the so-called bot controversy in the V community, if you summarize the discussions that have been happening since the early days, basically the ones who have benefited from it were nijisanji, it was like they were casually playing it off or just casually doing stuff or whatever, especially the thing with nijisanji EN fans stirring up opposition by flinging it at Hololive, which again, a lot of people have been kind of discussing this and talking about it. And again, as I said, I don't know if this is 100% true, but there's a lot of different pages that have been apparently reporting this, including this one, Anime Trends, which is quite a big page, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 459,000 followers essentially accusing them, right? People saying, I really wish people would just post proof of this instead of just throwing accusations around. Obviously, they said, I think they're referring to this. I found this a few days ago, because this account doesn't actually provide the proof. They were just saying that, hey, they've lost 50%. Meanwhile, the Hololive girls didn't get a hit. And didn't actually provide the proof here, but apparently this is the proof. And again, the case is as well, this could be completely fabricated too. That's the thing, and that's why it is so hard to kind of believe like everything that is coming out on all of the kind of different things that are put out onto places like Twitter, right? How are we to be sure, unless I go through every single average of each of these people, that these percentages are correct and they have actually faced a dip in views? I mean, but obviously outside of the accusations towards nijisanji and all of that kind of stuff, it seems like, people have been going after just random VTubers as well, like indie VTubers, some people associated with Irium as well. I think this person right here, who is an ASMR streamer. Yeah, ASMR streamer, saying, since viewbotting is trending, everyone is suddenly a detective. I've already seen ASMR artists, including myself, get accused, and it's disrespectful if you don't understand the culture. Lurking is the core of ASMR. Slow chat is normal, big drops look weird, but steady CCV equals bots, which obviously, yeah, is 100% the case, right? Obviously, they're defending their case here, saying, essentially, like, everybody's trying to go on these witch hunts, trying to get everybody called out for these view bots, when, you know, viewership can be very different whenever you go category to category. Maybe someone in the kind of, you know, just chatting category that has a very slow chat might be a little bit more sus than someone, for example, like this person who does ASMR content, which obviously is known to have a slower chat because, let's be real, half the people are sleeping or relaxing to the actual ASMR than actually chatting in the chat, right? Of course, there's still going to be some chatters because it's a Twitch stream, but, you know, it's definitely going to be a much lower rate of chatters and a much lower rate of kind of people just, what do you call it, like people chatting and just interacting with the stream in general, right? And obviously as well, you know, this was the post that they share here, which is dokibird talking about viewbots, which we actually covered a little bit ago about FaZe Banks admitting, yeah, on Twitter to viewbotting. Saying dokibird on why people viewbot their streams. Sponsors pay streamers based on their CCV, and the gap between numbers are huge. Doki once helped Marvel Rivals devs from wasting their money on a viewbotter. They're the reason why Twitch is cracking down. And yeah, obviously, let's just quickly just take a look at this clip again so you guys can be reminded. But this clip has definitely been like resurfacing again with a lot of the kind of accusations and witch hunting that has been kind of following from all of this stuff going on.
Admits on Twitter to viewbot. Bro, you know why people viewbot? Other than like being at the top of the page, sponsors pay X amount of money per 100 CCV. So that's why people viewbot, because they only look at CCV. I helped the Rivals devs to not get scammed because they were accidentally sponsoring viewbotters. I told them, bro, that person's a viewbotter. And they're like, but they have so many views. Yeah, but look at the chat interactions. It barely moves. You can literally check them out on Twitch tracker and see like they just gained like 1 million followers within like a month and then barely anything after that. Sponsors don't look past numbers. They don't really like research because sponsors usually go through brokers, and the brokers would just be like, oh, these people have these views, you want to get them? And they're like, yeah, okay, we pay X amount of money per 100 CCV. So a lot of streamers now, they view bot so they can get bigger payouts. Remember I told you guys they accidentally leaked a big streamer rates to me? So I fucking know how much people get paid if they have like 40k viewers. I know exactly how much they get paid. It's a fucking crazy amount compared to what I get paid for like the CCV I have. And that's why people viewbot, because they can scam the sponsors. It's good investment for them. They literally can get paid insane amounts of money for like lying about their CCVs.
And that's like exactly, you know, one of the big reasons why people viewbot, and dokibird is like 100% spot on with that, in the sense that a lot of people viewbot now, you know, for the reason of sponsors, right? People want sponsors, people want to get paid, and of course you get more money the more viewership you have. Now, of course, it is much easier as well to hide something, especially if you have already a high viewership. You know, say you have like a viewership of about 5,000 chatters, right? You have 5,000 real viewers, right? Obviously, very good number. You can get quite a lot of sponsors with that already, like a huge amount of sponsors, right? But let's just say, right, you put on some bots, right, to kind of double it, maybe triple it. You know, you get 15,000 viewers with your 5,000 viewer stream, like real viewers. And of course, the chat's still going to be moving pretty quickly, right? Because you still got those 5,000 there. Now, maybe not as much as you would expect with a 15k, but sometimes it can be masked if you are a big streamer anyways, and you kind of like boost up your viewership artificially a little bit more. And that's why so many people get away with it, because of course it's harder to tell, because, you know, you could artificially kind of boost it without people really knowing whether you're doing it, unless they have actual solid proof of you like buying bots or whatever. And that's why it's so easy for them to kind of scam a lot of companies and a lot of sponsors and whatever, and why they do it, because it's easy for them to appear like they have 15,000 viewers when they have about 5,000, and people, they can still get away with it because people can't prove it, people can't really tell as well at some points, because the chat's still moving pretty fast with 5,000 people in it. Maybe not 15,000 fast, but enough to kind of, you know, for people to be like, you know, okay, I guess, right? Maybe they just don't have an interactive chat or whatever. But again, the more egregious ones are the people that do it from like, you know, they have like 100 viewers, they have like a couple of chatters in there, and then they bot to like, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. You can definitely tell then, like, but that's 100%, and that is one of the big reasons as to why it doesn't work for smaller streamers that try to bot, and they always get caught because, you know, it's because they don't have those chatter base there to already do it. Now, of course, they are starting to, you know, make bots or whatever that can kind of like AI chat or whatever, like pretend to be a viewer essentially in the chat, which of course might help out. But even then, I think it starts to become a little bit obvious, especially with the fact that, you know, they won't be saying anything that helpful to the stream or anything like that, right? So again, I think there is definitely that difference, and I think a lot of people, you know, might need to understand that a lot of the people that do bot are genuinely the biggest streamers, right? They're the ones at the very top. They just bot to get that extra bit of money out of it, because of course, if you're like, even if you're like a 30k streamer, right, 30k real viewers, you're like one of the top people, right, like top 10 probably, like somewhere around there, right? You know, you could just like easily viewbot like another like 20k on top, and then get an extra like, you know, amount of money on top of that. Like, to be fair, like, you know, as much as it sucks and it's so unfair on like other people, right, you know, they're making extra money themselves, right, and they're getting away with it. So sometimes you got to kind of respect the hustle, but of course it is just one of those things that, you know, it does happen, and you know, there's going to be many people trying to call out other people for botting and whatever, so just be careful with it, you know. If you are like, you know, thinking that, oh, this VTuber, this creator or whatever is botting, maybe just be a little bit more careful in how, you know, you go about it and stuff, because of course it can be incredibly hard to prove it, and to actually, you know, I guess like bring it to light, right? There's only been a couple of cases where people have been like fully, I guess, cancelled for viewbotting, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people, you know, don't care after the initial kind of allegations come out. They just go, oh, you're a viewbotter, your botters aren't real, and that's about all they can say, right? Because Twitch, you know, obviously they have tried to enforce some things, but they've done it pretty terribly in terms of getting rid of real viewers now. So again, it seems that kind of stuff is a whole mess as well on top of that. So yeah, I mean, you know, viewbotting, a very, very big discussion that has been going on in the VTuber space recently, and obviously people bringing back this dokibird post, which again, she's 100% right about why they do it and why this goes on. And of course, it seems like there is like more witch hunts going on for people that are doing it, and it seems like some people like ASM artists are being affected, as well as obviously, you know, entire VTuber agencies. Now, obviously, you know, there might be genuine cases where some of these could be true, right? But again, obviously, as I said, it is hard to tell, and sometimes it is hard to kind of understand the nuances between, you know, different categories, chat interaction, time of year, you know, whether it's like, you know, holidays or whatever, you know, because obviously viewership will go up on holidays. You know, we had the whole, you know, thing in 2020. Obviously, I can't really say it, else YouTube might, you know, screw me over. The whole thing in 2020 where, you know, everyone was inside, right? Viewership was at an all-time high, and a lot of people got their careers started from there because, of course, you know, there's a lot of viewers, and, you know, the more people are inside, the more viewers they get. And of course, that can also be a factor as well. So yeah, that's just essentially just to talk about viewbotting in the VTubing space in general. I just kind of wanted to discuss it because I saw a lot of people talking about it recently, especially with some other stuff as well. But yeah, that's essentially all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.